Heard from Steve Bannon today, but my question to you, Kurt, is why do you think Steve Bannon decided to go with this scorched earth policy with some of the comments that are now attributed to him in this book?
Well, anyone who's followed Steve Bannon knows that that's exactly his style, scorched earth. He doesn't have nuance, he has bluntness. And remember, when Steve left the White House last August, I remember this quote that he gave, and I think it was to the Weekly Standard, where he said, "The Trump presidency that we fought for and won is over. It's going to be a different presidency. It's over." And I think that foreshadowed a lot of where we are right now. And even the way that Steve lost his job in the White House, he lost it because, as they say, he flew close to the sun. He was on the cover of Time magazine last February. Trump clearly hated that. He got co-billing and co-credit in this book that Joshua Green did last year called The Devil's Bargain. That drove Trump crazy that he was getting that kind of credit. And he spent the better part of the summer trying to diminish Steve's role, much like he's doing right now. And then sure enough, here we are again in a situation where Steve is getting all of this attention, taking a lot of credit, getting a lot of praise for the role he played in orchestrating this campaign and this presidency, and it drives Trump crazy. It says so much that in the scathing statement that Donald Trump put out, he addressed the credit issue of Steve Bannon, not the actual comments about him saying the meeting that Donald Jr. and Kushner involved in was treasonous.
Yeah, he focused his comments today purely on Steve Bannon and his character and his personality. Let's go back to the book for a moment, because there was something that jumped out at me, because in it, Bannon talked about Trump potentially firing Mueller. That seems to have been a talking point picked up by a lot of Republicans in the last couple of weeks as they tried to discredit the investigation. Here's what he said. He wrote, he said, if he fires Mueller, it just brings the impeachment quicker. Why not? Let's do it. Let's get it on. Why not? What am I going to do? Am I going to go in and save him? He's Donald Trump. So, Francesca, if Trump decided to try and fire Bob Mueller, which some have suggested, could anyone in the White House feasibly stop him? Is there anyone there that could walk into the office and say, no, don't do this?
Well, something also that's talked about in the book, and if you're following this White House drama, you well know that Ivanka Trump is someone who has her father's ear. And another revelation or allegation in this book was that she potentially would be thinking about one day running for office herself. So she is someone who has a lot to gain from this White House and from making sure that her father didn't do anything to jeopardize this administration or the presidency. But look, the White House has said repeatedly that President Trump could fire Bob Mueller, but he has no interest in doing that, and nothing seems to have changed on that front at this point.
Kurt, very quickly, this is obviously a full-blown war now within the Republican Party, or at least within the White House, between the establishment Republicans. Even Mitch McConnell weighed on it today with a bit of a sarcastic tweet about all the news today. And then you have the Steve Bannons and his wing and his base of the party. Who wins here? What's Bannon's next move?
Well, what Bannon has shown is that he has, through the Breitbart platform, an entire audience that is devoutly conservative, alt-right, diehard Trump supporters. And as Trump's presidency has gone forward and he's lost support from independents, from establishment people, he has to cling to that right-wing support because that's the only thing keeping him viable. If he loses it, it's over for him. So I think that's why Steve has a certain amount of influence and relevance still, is because through that platform, that's the place that every day these conservatives congregate around and rally around President Trump and his agenda. And despite what Trump says about Steve, Bannon's not using the pages of Breitbart to go after Trump directly yet. He's not using it to torpedo his presidency. He's not saying he needs to go, he needs to be impeached. Until that happens, he's still going to be very important to Trump. Yeah, that has not yet happened. We should emphasize the word yet. But interestingly enough, we also know that Steve Bannon once predicted that Donald Trump would win re-election with 400 electoral votes. So a lot of predictions there. Francesca Chambers, Kurt Bardella, great to have both of you with us this evening. Thanks.
And coming up, Paul.